Welcome to another workshop presented to you from the Black People United for Change movement. Today, our workshop is all about incorporating an Ontario not for profit organization. We're going to talk about the initial steps required to incorporate a nonprofit organization here in Ontario, and we're going to talk about a few other important things. Anyone with the intent to start their own Black owned not for profit organization in Ontario should know. So, welcome to our second workshop. So, ready, set, go. So, one of the first things that when you're brainstorming before you get into the initial planning stage and then actually begin incorporating a nonprofit incorporation here in Ontario, it's important to know what you want your nonprofit incorporation to be called. How would people address you? How would you be found? So the first step is to secure your name. So what you would need to do, you would have to do what they call a nuanced name search. So the nuanced name search is a mandatory requirement. It's just to make sure that the name you're thinking of to call your nonprofit incorporation is not affiliated with another corporation in Ontario. So to do that, the most less expensive company that I would recommend is called Advanced Nuance, and there's their URL. So it's advancednuance.ca backslash nuance hyphen report. So, and you could also Google them, advanced nuance. So you have to do a nuance report. After you do the report, you will be emailed if the name is not taken already or if it's not associated with any other nonprofit entity or incorporation in Ontario. You're going to be emailed a report in which you have to provide as part of the process of incorporating a nonprofit organization in Ontario. So that's advancednuance.ca. So after you do that, after you have your name secured, you could breathe a sigh of relief because your incorporation name is your incorporation name. And so the next step would be to visit the Ontario government website. That's at ontario.ca. So www.ontario.ca. And what you would do once you get to that site, you're going to go at the home page, you're going to go to the Government of Ontario and you're going to scroll down a little bit and you're going to find where it says most visited. And what you're going to do there is you're going to click on Ontario Business Registry. The acronym is OBR. So you're going to need to get a company key. And I wanted to just show you what you look for. So you need to make sure when you log on to ontario.ca, you see this, the Government of Ontario at your service, and you would scroll down a little bit and make sure that you see most visited pages. And I'm sorry this is obscured, but I just wanted to show you it says Ontario Business Registry. You're going to need to get a company key and you're also going to need to create and log into your My Ontario account. And I'll explain what that's all about right in the next slide. So after you do all that, you get your company key. You would get the company key, create and log into your account, and create a Service Ontario account, and you would link your business using your company key. But you're probably thinking like, how am I going to do all that? Which is great because there is a contact us option for you, so you could either email them, but I prefer talking over the phone. It's much easier for me. So if you're in the Toronto area, you can give them a call at 416-314-8880 and ask them how you can go about getting a company key. And they will send it to you by mail because it's confidential. If you're outside of Toronto, you can always call their toll-free number at 1-800 361 3223. All right, so what's next? So you would need to know, how many people do I need to incorporate nonprofit corporation in Ontario. So, according to the Ontario Not for Profit Corporations Act, a not for profit corporation must have at least three directors on its board. You don't have to have any credentials. You just need an embodiment of three people to formulate a board, and then you would qualify as a Ontario not-for-profit corporation. There's also a very helpful guide. So another frequently asked question, where would I find a guide to help me decide the purpose of which my nonprofit incorporation operates? So let's say, for example, you want to do community work. Well, you could go in this handbook here. You can also find it by Googling the Not for Profit Incorporators Handbook and go to page 59. It has a complete listing of the verbiage you can use when you're registering to become a nonprofit entity. So that handbook again is called the Non-for-Profit Incorporators Handbook, and you're going to go to page 59 in that handbook. In that handbook, it's going to give you a complete list of, if you want to be incorporate as a non-for-profit hockey entity, a community services, all the things you can think of. They have music as well. So it tells you, you know, what you can verbiage you could provide when you're registering your business to answer that required detail, which is what is the purpose of the operations of your incorporation. So that's a great book to have. It's free to download. Google the Not for Profit Incorporators Handbook and go to page 59. A great read. So after you incorporate and what have you, you're probably wondering, where am I going to get, how am I going to fund my initiatives? Where do I get the funding from? Well, let me tell you, there's the Ontario Trillium Foundation grants. They help many types of organizations and communities to have the funding to deliver programs and services. There's also Charity Village, and Charity Village has a lot of great grant opportunities. Back to the Ontario Trillium Fund, they have Youth Opportunities Fund, Family Innovation Stream. There's the Seed Grant, the Grow Grant, the Capital Grant. There's all kinds of grant opportunities through the Ontario Trillium Foundation. So also you probably can't click these URLs through this workshop, but there's Charity Village and there's Ontario Trillium Foundation and also the Canada Heritage um, grant through the government of Ontario, and they're ethnicity specific. So for a black owned and operated non-corporation, they have grants to suit your initiatives. It's really great. So the Canadian Heritage, Ontario Trillium Foundation, and the Charity Village. So, thinking about our brothers and our sisters, the Black Panthers had the 10-point plan. And one of the things that the Black Panthers focused on was independence, having a Black community that's independent of depending on social benefits, or the system. They created their own breakfast programs, they had classes, they created a sense of independence. And Black People United for Change, we kind of look towards the Black Panthers 10-point plan because in order for our our ethnic group to become more self-sufficient rather than being reliant on a system that is not entirely fair to our ethnic group, if we begin to learn and know what steps to take to be more of an independent community, definitely we can build our community into a community that is not dependent on anyone else outside of our ethnic group. And we learn how to build and strengthen our community. So I want to say that I made it sound really easy when I spoke about, applying for grants. There's a part of the process of applying for grants which can be difficult and very expensive, and that would be writing the grant. There is a process and there's a step required when you're doing grant writing, and it's not easy, and it's a very expensive um, service to pay for. So I'm thinking, why not learn how to do grant writing? If there were more individuals within the Black community that had the skills of grant writing, we can keep our business within our ethnicity. So I wanted to share with you that George Brown has a fantastic grant writing. It's called Writing Effective Funding Proposals. So that course will teach you what a grant proposal should entail, how to organize it, how to present it, and how to become an expert at grant writing that it would be hard for a funder to say no. The cost of the course is $297, but it is worth it because ask the cost for hiring someone else to do your grant proposal or your grant writing starts at a minimum of $500. So just think about the freedom and liberating feeling of knowing, hey, I could write my own grant proposal. I could teach other Black youths coming up who want to start their non-for-profit business. You can pass that gift along, right? So not only does George Brown have the course, there's also some free courses. You could look up the Advanced Grant Writing course. So George Brown, Writing Effective Funding Proposals. You can Google that. And then we have the Advanced Grant Writing course. This one here is free. It's nonprofitready.org. So you get free online training for the nonprofit professional, and they provide a course so you can become an expert grant writer. They also have Conestoga. They have a great program as well to write effective grant proposals. So this is very important unless you have a very close rapport with someone who's an expert grant writer. But it's always great to be self-sufficient and learn how to do these things on your own, and also be able to teach others within the Black community self-sufficiency. So Black People United for Change brought this presentation to you because our mission statement is together we can. Together we can build up a Black Wall Street in Canada. And each one of us can teach each other something. If you've learned something today from this workshop, you can pass this workshop along and help each other. It one brick on top of another brick, and if you keep building on the first brick, it becomes a large empire, right? So what we want to do is do like what our great leaders before us, the vision they had was to create independence within the Black community. And in order for us to be more independent, we're going to have to create opportunities available within our community. For example, they've eliminated a lot of the Black oriented summer job programs. If you go ahead and incorporate your corporation as a nonprofit entity, there is funding that will fund you and help you with the cost to create a summer job program for Black youth. There's so many other things like starting a food bank, a breakfast program. We have the Afrocentric School. We can work together as a community and have our own facilities, have our own board. I'm taking you back to the Black Panthers, um, their 10-point plan, of independence and not being dependent on a system that does not value our integrity, that doesn't have our best interest at heart, that doesn't promote cohesion within the Black community. And we see where it's possible when we think about Black Wall Street. But we can't just be selfish in what we do. We have to remember that if we learn, my sister learns. If you learn, your brother learns. If you learn, your friend, your cousin, your auntie, we all learn together. Each one should teach one. And that is the purpose of these workshops provided to you from Black People United for Change. It starts small, and it may take baby steps, but it is possible. We've just provided the requirements to start your own not-for-profit incorporation here in Ontario. And together we can. And for those of you who are interested in the PDF version of this presentation, please send us an email at blackpeopleunitedforchange@gmail.com. You could also find our contact information on our website at blackpeopleforchange.ca. Send an email to us, and we'll be more than happy to provide you with a PDF copy of this presentation. Together we can. So we want to thank you for joining us today for our workshop regarding how to get started incorporating a non-for-profit entity here in Ontario. And each one teach one, together we can. Thank you for your time. And remember, if you have any further questions or you'd like to learn more, do send us an email at blackpeopleunitedforchange@gmail.com. And if you're thinking about incorporating a not for profit entity here in Ontario, we just want to wish you blessings, and please know and feel free to revert back to this workshop at any time and send us an email if you like the information we've just provided to you on paper. Take good care, everybody.